What's up, people? You've seen this gun on my channel before. This is my Tokyo Marui 5.1. They call it the government model. It's weird because the real life counterpart to this gun wasn't used in any military at all, so yeah, go figure. But this is a high capa, and you notice when I pull the trigger, you'll notice it's way shorter. Like, look at that. I don't know if you can see, but very short. The trigger pull is about half the length that it was from the stock high capa. And I've actually done a mod to this gun to make the trigger pull really short. And I'm gonna show you how to do it today. It's really simple. It mainly just involves putting shims on the trigger bar to reduce the amount of distance that the trigger actually travels. And it's really easy. It should take like 5 minutes or less for anyone who actually has any experience with the high capa platform and knows how to disassemble it. But for those of you who don't know how to disassemble it, maybe you're not the brightest tech, maybe you're not super familiar with high capas and how to do this, I'm going to be covering the full disassembly and reassembly of the grip and frame. So for those of you who don't really know anything about high capa tech or just airsoft tech in general, I got you covered. But without further ado, let's just jump into this. All right, for the disassembly, we're gonna start by, get that toothpick out of here. We'll start by popping the slide release out. And I would like to note, this gun is short stroked. So if you really wanna take advantage if you really wanna make it even faster and take advantage of that quick cyclic speed, which really helps with the follow-up shots and really goes well with this trigger mod, I would recommend short stroking it. So keep that in mind. The gun is short stroked. Now I move on to the grip and frame, and we're gonna start by removing this screw and these two grip screws. The screw in the frame is a Phillips head. We're just gonna unscrew that. And the grip screws both use an Allen key. Now there are going to be some small parts that you're not going to want to lose when you open this gun up, so I'd recommend having a tray or something to keep track of all your little parts, as I have over here. But once you unscrew those 3 screws, you're going to notice the frame is going to want to separate from the grip. So that's what you're going to do. There you go. As simple as that. And we're going to set the frame aside. We're not going to mess with it for today, but we are, however, going to mess with the grip. Now we're going to remove the magazine release, and it's pretty simple. You just take a screwdriver, a flathead, push it in, and then turn it counterclockwise. There you go. That's very simple. Now, honestly, the most annoying part is the pin that holds the mainspring housing in place. And you're just gonna take something, as a punch or something. I'm using an Allen key because I don't have a real punch. And I don't have a real hammer either, so I'm just gonna use these wire strippers. But you're just gonna put that in there, punch that out, right there. And then the mainspring housing just slides off. We're not gonna mess with the hammer spring, so we can set that aside. Now, this is where you wanna be really careful. This spring right here, this is the leaf spring. It's really important, and if you bend any one of those prongs, the gun won't work properly, so be really careful. And from here, we've removed everything that's in the way. And you just slide the trigger out. All right, so here we have the trigger and the trigger bar. And as you can see, I put little shims on the trigger bar. You can use whatever material you want. I used electrical tape, little tiny strips of electrical tape that I cut. And I recommend that personally because you can remove different strips and add them to adjust the size of your shims. Because if you put too much, they will block the trigger from making and the thing won't work if you put too many. So you gotta put enough to where it's just right. And I like having the electrical tape strips because you can peel them off and, you know, adjust the length like that. So that's what I recommend, but you can do whatever you want. All right, now we're going to begin reassembling the gun. And most of it is pretty straightforward. You kind of just slide parts back in where they came from. You slide the trigger back in, mag release, goes, pop that in. Where's my screwdriver? There you go. Nice and springy. When you install the leaf spring, there is a groove, sort of a little channel in the frame right here, which lines up with the bottom of the leaf spring. So when you slide that in, you can push the bottom flap sort of into that channel, and that goes in nicely. The main spring housing slides back right back in. Where's the pin? Pop that back in there. Now, this is where it gets a little complicated. You see on the frame, or more inside the frame, there are these two parts right here. There's this little silver bit, and if we move that out, you can see there's a little black bit right there. Now, these are important because when you install this again, this prong right here on the right rides over the silver part. So when we reassemble this, you slide that in. Now here, you can see there's that silver bit right there, and you want that to ride. You want that to ride on top of the trigger bar and then under that part of the spring. And then you notice how the middle prong is trying to go under the black bit. We don't want that. You want to pry that up. You want to sort of pry that up with your screwdriver. And then there. Now it's on top of the black bit. That's how it's supposed to be. So now we can just close that up and start installing our screws again. So there's that one that goes in the frame. And then these two in the grip. There we go. Fully reassembled. And you know, you can test the hammer, make sure it works. Make sure the grip safety works. It does. So once you know all those things work, you just slide the slide back on, pop that back in, and boom, upgraded high capa. Now, this isn't exclusively for TM high capas. It works for any high capa, as long as it's a gas blowback, obviously. So, AW, WeTech, Jagarms, Army, you know, KJW, all those high capas, it'll work for all of them. And it will work for the 4.3 and the 5.1. So, yeah, this is a pretty cool mod, in my opinion, because it lets you shoot really fast. And I have clips coming up in a minute that show how fast you can make this thing shoot. And if you agree with me, if you think this is cool and you like my tutorial and you thought this was helpful, please like this video and consider subscribing. It really means a lot to me, those of you who like and support my content. So if you like this, please subscribe. And yeah, thank you for watching. Before you leave the video, let's roll the clips so you can see them and see how fast this gun shoots. Roll it.